Oh, that's cute. Little guardrail action here at one of my favorite lookout spots here on Lake George. There are some really funny ones here that I haven't seen before, and I'm not going to put them on camera because I don't know who watches them with their kids, but oh god, people are too funny, man. So we are here. We're just left a gutter job up in Ticonderoga. We are sitting here on the side of the road of 9N between Bolton and Hague, and just an absolutely beautiful spot. It's one of my favorites to kind of come up and just park here and have coffee, especially in the summer when the guardrail isn't about 15 degrees. It is about 30 degrees out, so we're going to keep this Q&A session a little short, and have been kind of wondering if I want to change it instead of every Friday over the winter months to once a month. If I do, it'll still be on Friday. Also, I did try the live stream last week. It was really quick. I had never opened up the live thing before, and you can't play with it unless you're live. So went live, and a couple guys came in, and I was just trying to figure it out. Not a huge fan of it. I thought that the live might have been a little easier, because then I might not have to edit, but then it takes people, especially because I didn't tell anyone that I was going to be doing it, but it takes people a while to kind of linger in. So then I do have to go back. I have to like edit out like the 2 or 3 or 5 minutes that it takes people to come in. And then I really do like to put the actual questions up on the screen and do a couple of things. So the live streaming is probably pretty cool if I got used to it, but I'm just not really interested in doing it right now. So obviously this is not live. Also, one more thing, I have been getting a lot of questions lately about some of the gear that I use. Starting in this video and every video that I've ever posted before, and every video coming up from now on, we'll have all the links in the description for basically everything that I use. Everything from the soap, to the guns that I use, to the hoses, to the boots, to the shirts, to just everything. It's all gonna be in the description. So from now on, if you see something that you're interested in, it's most likely in the description. If someone questions something that's not in the description, then I'll add it. Just keep that in mind. I know a lot of guys are just interested in the stuff that I'm trying out, the stuff that seems to be working for me. There's no reason that it shouldn't work for you. So if you see something, check the description. All the links are down there. All right, so let's get to it. Where's a good spot? I had to put sunglasses on because the water's reflecting so crazy off the water, but hopefully it'll be okay for you guys. Let's see here. Again, I hope this is helping. You know, I'm doing this for you guys. I just get so many questions, and I just can't imagine that only one person can benefit from them. I'm assuming a lot of people can benefit from them. So I just kind of take them from wherever I've gone back to the beginning of time on my channel, and worked my way up to here. So let's see what we got. Here's a relevant one from 5 months ago. Do you keep your rig inside, or is it exposed to the elements during the season? This year, so I built a garage last year, or I built a garage this fall, and this year it is going to be inside, but it is not a heated garage. Last year, I winterized it. I put a tarp over it, and it stayed outside all winter long. I put tarp and a big sheet of plywood, 8-foot sheet of plywood over the ladder rack to like kind of hold the snow load. And then I tarped everything, winterized it, took the hoses off, the pumps off, the metering system off, everything except like the bare bones of the skid, and everything was fine. I even left the batteries outside all winter long. I just didn't feel like disconnecting everything at the time. Left them all outside all winter long. Charged them up periodically on nice days throughout the winter. They are still the same batteries that I'm using now, and they're still fine. So this year it is going to be covered. It's going to be in my garage. I've got some neat little projects I'm going to do to it this year. No sneak peeks, not yet, but we'll be keeping it inside, still winterized. Everything is going to be winterized, hoses blown out, hoses probably taken off, pumps taken off, everything like that, but it'll at least be covered this year. It's basically hard plastic and steel. As long as you take some of that soft plastic components off, like the proportioner, you really won't have a problem with it. I find the EDDM specifications confusing. Me too. I can't seem to find out what size postcards can be mailed out. I currently have 5x5 by 8.5. Okay, 5x5 by 8.5. I'm designing. I ordered a bunch of EDDM in the beginning of this year. that kind of sounds relatively close, if not a little bit bigger than what I bought, and the Postal Service wouldn't take it. So that really kind of pissed me off, because Vistaprint has them on their site for the Postal Service EDDM, and then the Postal Service didn't take it. So I was annoyed, and like this fella said, the descriptions online are hella confusing. So I just went on and I bought the biggest ones possible, and I have not had an issue since. So this is advice. It might not be the best advice, but I just bought the biggest ones they had. And also the other thing too is, like, people get a lot of junk mail. Most of the mail that I get goes in the trash, and I don't even look at it because it's just junk. The big cards, if you put some stuff on it, some images, you know, make them stand out a little bit, it's hard for people to put their hands on that kind of stuff and not look at it first, just because it is big. So keep that in mind. Small is cheap, but big is noticeable. Thanks for sharing this. Oh, it's a long one. Thanks for sharing this. I've watched a few of your videos and found them to be very helpful to those of us that are still learning. With that being said, I haven't even gotten started yet, but I've been experimenting on my own house. So far, I just own a pressure washer, and I've been trying different mix ratios, but I plan on just using a downstream injection system and a J-rod fittings to earn money before investing it back into the business. So I want to spend money on marketing first. Very smart. Signs, flyers, cards, Facebook ads. So how do you capture new business? All of it. All of it. You do not need to spend $1 million on each of them. Figure out what your overall budget is for marketing, whatever you can afford at that time, and I would split it up amongst a few things. I would split it up against the EDDM. I would split it up against business cards, Facebook ads. I was pretty big on Facebook ads last year. I think they changed something to the algorithm, and I did get traction. I did not get as much traction as last year, so just keep that in mind. Maybe it's just my area, maybe I did something a little different this year. I have actually gotten more business just off of the free pictures that I post to my page, and I've just been trying to get more and more likes and follows to my page, more circulation of the work that I do. But I had done a little less marketing this year on Facebook, only because it seems different. It seems different than it was last year, but nonetheless, you should still be doing that. Signs, yard signs. I'm going to be working on yard signs a lot next year. I had some success with them this season with plowing. So I have a video out not too long ago. Got a couple accounts off of that already, and then I actually went out and I took them all down, because I'm kind of maxed out on my plow accounts for this year. I've gotten what I need. You know, you can't have too much plowing, because it takes a while, especially if you get hammered with a storm. Let's see what else we got here. What's important, so I keep everything in Excel sheet, everything from who I contacted, when I contacted them, how I contacted them. You want to try a little bit of everything, and then just like other businesses, when you go and you sign up for something or you buy something, a lot of times online or on the phone, they'll say, well, where'd you hear from us? Did you hear from us on an ad? Was it Google? Was it this, that? Do that on your own marketing. If you are going to be doing different avenues, signs, flyers, cards, Facebook, when someone says Facebook, mark it down. When someone says cards, mark it down. And after a month, after 6 months, whatever it might be, when after a season, you can go back and you can say, okay, I spent X amount of dollars over this season. I spent X amount of money on these avenues. This one had the biggest return. So next year, I'm going to put more money into this and less money into these other ones. I'm not going to stop marketing on these other avenues, but I'm going to put more to where my biggest bites are coming from. And the reason that I really like that idea is because some people respond really well to certain marketing. Some people are on Facebook and some people aren't. So you're only going to get a certain demographic on Facebook. Some people like the mailers, some people don't. You're just going to get, like, some people are just going to see those cards and going to throw them out. I have had people get mailers from a year ago and called me a year later because they get them, they put them on the fridge, it's not a good time, they get other products going on. Make sure you're keeping track of the money that you're spending and where it's going, and then your return on that investment, so you can make better business decisions as you go. So I don't need a deep cell battery. How long does battery last on a day if you charge every night? So I do charge every night, but I do not think that I have to. And I don't know about this. I don't need a deep cell battery. I think all of these batteries are basically deep cell. I'd have to double check on the battery that I have. It's basically just a car battery. It's a marine battery or a car battery. You can get a lot out of it. You can really get a lot out of it. I charge it every single night just because why not? But I mean, I've never had it die during the day. I've never had it like lose any power or lose any oomph. And I'm typically doing on average at least 5 to 6 to 7 jobs a day. And those are a mix of roof and house washes, big and small. And even the apartment complexes that I've done, never had a problem. It's all been done on 12 volts, it's all been done on battery. How do you keep up with the rinsing plants and grass if running solo? Do you rinse family, or do you use a family member or someone as a helper, or just bounce between? I bounce between hoses. The vegetation thing is kind of blown out of proportion. It's really not that big of a deal as long as you pre-wet very nicely and then soak it afterwards. And then the biggest thing is your mix ratios. If you are running the proper amount of chem, if you're on a house wash, you're using less than 0.5%, or if you know you need to get in that less than 1%, or you need to get somewhere in that 1 to 1.5% area, you're really going to be fine. If you are out doing a house wash using like 3-4%, you're just wrong. You need to just dial that back a little bit. With the pre-wet and the post-wet. Okay, so let's back up for a second. Let's talk about mixing. If you have 6%, if you're using 12% bleach, right? We're going to talk about it in a batch mix setting because it's just kind of easier to think about. If you have 1 gallon of 12.5% bleach, which is typically what comes from a pool store, that is straight bleach, 12.5%. Way too strong for anything, right? So we cut it with water. So now we're going to put equal parts. We're going to put another gallon of water in that tank to mix with a gallon of 12.5 bleach. You have diluted that by half. So now your 12.5 is 6.5 or 6.25. You keep adding your water until you can knock that down to close to 1%. When that 1% is on your siding and your plants are sprayed, and you then go and rinse your siding with fresh water, and then you rinse the plants again, you are further knocking that down from 1% to 0.8 to 0.6 to 0.7, all the way down to basically 0. So you hear guys say dilution is the solution. That's the key. So your rinsing doesn't have to be super crazy, or I'm sorry, your rinsing of the plants doesn't have to be super crazy. You don't have to have a bunch of guys with you. You don't have to throw a bunch of plastic. Some guys set up sprinklers if they're doing roof washes and there's no gutters. The big thing is that you just want to dilute all of that solution. So I don't carry anyone with me. I really don't break my neck to wet the plants. I've never had one single person out of over 400 washes call me and say that I burned their plants. I just wet them, I use the proper amount of mix, and I rinse afterwards. You get so much rinsing, honestly, you get so much rinsing on the siding that everything is just getting diluted. You pre-wet, you post-rinse, you're gonna be fine. But the big thing really is your mixing. If you're going out and you're doing a house wash with too hot of mix, you're done. It's gonna be very hard because that strong SH is gonna hit those leaves and you're not gonna have time to come back and hit it. If you get 0.5% or 1% on a couple trees, on a couple branches, and then you got to go finish the siding and you come back, you're gonna be fine. But if you start getting like 5% on someone's nice plants, you're not gonna have time to get back. So as long as your mix is proper, you'll be okay. How do you do your invoices and payment options without a CRM, only cash and check? I use a program called Invoice to Go. There are many like it, but this one is mine. It's just, there's all kinds of different apps out there. It's just a payment service. Invoice to Go is the one that I use. I can put a link for that down in the description as well. My CRM is basically an Excel sheet. I do want to change that. I want to get a little bit more automated. I only do cash or check, mainly check. A lot of people, if you're doing side hustling, cash is good. I actually want to grow my business. I want to have money on the bank, on the books. I want to show profit because everything that I purchase, everything that I buy comes out of my business account. If I ever want a new truck, it's coming out of the business account. That garage that I built this year was 100% tax deductible out of my business account. It was a business purchase. So it's if you take too much cash, it can hurt you in the long run. You don't want to be a business that never makes any income, that never makes any money. You will have a much better time showing some sort of income, but again, that's just depends on what you are looking to do with your business. And let's do one more here. where do you guys recommend to get a logo? Logos are pretty important because it's important that you build a brand, and logos can be found all over. You can build them on Vistaprint. You can have people build them for you. You can go to Fiverr.com and pay someone $5 to build you a business logo. There's also all kinds of free logo making things online. If you just Google logo maker, you can go in and there's all kinds of free images and images that you can upload. That's basically the easiest way to do it. I would start that way. Again, work up to it, scale into it, get a little logo, just enough to get your name out there, put on some flyers, and then as you start generating income, you can go to an actual graphic designer and you can have them make you something real nice. But my first logo was free. I actually did it on a free logo maker. When I first started, my business name was actually different. It wasn't even Lake George Shingle Shine, but that was a long time ago, it feels like. So I just went on a free logo maker, made a logo. All my first EDDM stuff was actually made in Microsoft Word. I printed it out on regular paper and just distributed it around. So you don't have to be fancy, you don't have to do anything crazy. What is more important than being fancy is just doing good quality work, getting your name out there, asking for referrals, and growing your business. So I hope that is enough. It's definitely enough for me because it is 34 degrees and it's windy here by the water. So we'll see ya.